Hello class 7 students, welcome back to the history class. Today we are going to start chapter 6, Tribes, Nomads and Settled Communities. Learning objectives, livelihood, the lifestyle of nomadic tribal people, different tribal groups, changing tribal society. Let's warm up. Identify the following famous events of India. Try to identify these famous events by their images. Application skills. Mongolians were the best known pastoral and hunter-gatherer tribe in history who settled in the grasslands or steppes of Central Asia and the forested areas further north. Genghis Khan had united the Mongol and Turkish tribes into a great military force by 1206. He was the ruler of extensive territories at the time of his death in 1227. His successors created a vast empire by including parts of Russia, Eastern Europe, China, and much of West Asia. They also had well-organized army and administrative systems. Now answer the following questions. First, who were Mongolians? B. When did Genghis Khan unite the Mongol and Turkish tribes into a great military force? C. How his successors created a vast empire? Very little is known about the tribal societies and groups of medieval period because of the following reasons. First, they did not keep written records and preserve their customs and traditions orally, which were passed down to each new generation. They generally lived in remote areas which were extremely difficult to reach, for example, hills, mountains, deserts, and dense forests, etc. Many of the evidences about the tribal societies and group of the medieval period have been destroyed because of the natural disasters and remaining sources difficult to understand. They did not easily let outsiders into their habitation. Fact file. The character of Shabri in the Ramayana belonged to the Bhil tribe. The character of Eklavya in the Mahabharata was a prince of the Nishda tribe. Livelihood. Many tribes obtained their livelihood from agriculture. Some were hunter-gatherers or herders. They also depended on the natural resources of the area in which they lived. Some tribes were nomadic who moved from one place to another. A group of tribal men controlled land and pastures jointly and divided these amongst households according to its own rules. Different tribal groups. Tribal people were found in almost every region of the subcontinent. Many large tribes thrived. The area and influence of a tribe varied at different points of time and place. Some powerful tribes controlled large territories in different parts of the subcontinent. During the 13th and 14th century, the Khokhar tribe was very powerful in Punjab. Later, the Gabkhars became more important. Kamal Khan Gagkhar, chief of Gagkhar's tribe, was made a noble or mansabdar by Emperor Akbar. The Langas and Argans tribes dominated extensive regions in Multan and Sindh before they were subdued by the Mughals. Another large and powerful tribe in the northwest were Balochs. They were divided into many smaller clans under different chiefs. The Shepherd tribe of Gaddis lived in the western Himalayas. The northeastern part of the subcontinent too was entirely dominated by different tribes such as the Ahoms, Nagas, etc. The Maharashtra highlands and Karnataka were the centers of Kolis, Berards and many other tribal groups. In many areas of Gujarat, Koli Salvo tribal group lived. Across western and central India, a large tribe of Bhils was spread. There were large tribal population of Koragas, Betars, Maravars and many other in south subcontinents. The Mundas and Santals were important tribes that live in Odisha and Bengal. The Gonds were found in large numbers across the present-day states of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. Many of them had become settled agriculturists and some even zamindars by the end of the 6th century. The lifestyle of nomadic tribal people. Settled agriculturists were few in number. Most of the nomadic tribal people moved over long distances with their animals. They depend upon milk and other pastoral products. They also exchanged honey, wool, ghee, etc. with settled agriculturists for grain, cloth, utensils, and different other products. They bought and sold these goods as they moved from one place to another by transporting them on their animals. The Banjaras were an example of the most important trader nomads. Their caravan was called Tanda. Some pastoral tribes reared and sold animals such as cattle and horses to the prosperous people. Different castes of petty peddlers also traveled from village to village and sold products such as ropes, stems, grass, jute, and rough bags. There were some caste of entertainers who performed in different towns and villages with the songs and the folk tales for their livelihood. Changing tribal society. Tribal groups were exposed to new different cultures with the time. They slowly began to change their isolated lifestyle and some of them began to lead a settled life. They adopted a better method of agriculture. Many tribes became part of the caste system with the support of the Brahmins. Large leading tribal families joined the lower jatis of caste society. Many dominant tribes of Punjab, Sindh and the northwest frontier had adopted Islam quite early. The emergence of states had an adverse effect on social change amongst tribal people. Some tribes became dominant during the medieval period. Tribes that controlled the main trade routes and forest resources became very influential. The Gonds and Ahoms were two important examples of tribal groups of our history. Case studies. The Gonds. The Gonds are the most powerful tribal community in central India who lived in a vast forested region called Gondwana or country inhabited by Gonds. The name Gond comes from the Telugu word Konda which means hills. In present days, they are spread across Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. Their language is known as Gond. This is the picture of Gond tribe of Chhattisgarh. Their main occupation is agriculture and practicing shifting agriculture. The large Gond tribes was further divided into many smaller clans and each clan had its own Raja or Rani. A few large Gond kingdoms were beginning to dominate the smaller Gond chiefs when the power of the Delhi Sultans was declining. According to the Akbarnama, a history of Akbar's reign, the Gond kingdom of Gada Katanga had 70,000 villages. To meet the needs of such a large kingdom, the administrative system of these kingdoms became more centralized. The kingdom was divided into Gads and each Gad was controlled by a particular Gond clan. Each Gond clan was further divided into units of 84 villages called Chaurasi. The Chaurasi was subdivided into Barhots which were made up of 12 villages each. The emergence of large states changed the nature of Gond society when small clans joined together to form a kingdom. The Gond society got divided into different unequal social classes. Brahmins received land grants from the Gond Rajas and became more powerful. The Gond chiefs now wanted to be recognized as Rajputs. Therefore, Amandas, the Gond Raja of Gad Katanga, presumed the title of Sangram Shah. His son named Dalpat was married to Princess Durgavati. Rani Durgavati started ruling on behalf of her 5-year-old son. Bir Narayan, after the death of Dalpat, the kingdom became even more extensive under her rule. In 1565, when the Mughal forces under Asaf Khan attacked Gad Katanga, she put up a strong resistance. She was defeated for the cause of her kingdom and preferred to die rather than surrender. Her son too died fighting soon after. Gad Katanga was a very rich state. It trapped and exported wild elephants to other kingdoms. Mughals captured a huge booty of precious coins and elephants when they defeated the Gonds. Although the Gond kingdom survived for some time, however, they became much weaker and later struggled unsuccessfully against the stronger Bundelas and Marathas. The Ahoms. The Ahoms were a tribal community who migrated to the Brahmaputra Valley from present-day Myanmar in the 13th century. They are supposed to be the descendants of the Shan dynasty of China. They came to Assam from Myanmar. The name Assam probably comes from the word Ahom. Assam was earlier known as Kamrupa. They settled in northeastern Assam and set up a stable government by making Sukhapa first Ahom king. They expanded their territories by defeating the local rulers. During the 16th century, they annexed the kingdom of the Chutias 1523 and of Koch Hajo 1581 and conquered many other tribes. Ahoms used firearms to build a large state in the 1530s. They could even make high-quality gunpowder and cannons by the 1660s. In 1662, the Mughals under Mir Jumla attacked the Ahom kingdom and defeated them. But direct Mughal control over the region could not last long, and they were able to recover all the lands that they had lost to the Mughals by the 1667 CE. The Ahom state depended upon forced labor, and those who forced to work for the state were called pegs. The census of the population was taken and each village had to send a number of pegs by rotation. Now, people from heavily populated areas were shifted to less populated places, resulting in the breaking of Ahom clans. The administration became quite centralized. By the first half of the 17th century, almost all adult males served in the army during the war, and at other times, they were engaged in building dams, irrigation system, and other public works, etc. Ahom society was divided into clan or khels, which often controlled several villages. Different artisans in the Ahom areas come from the adjoining kingdoms because there were very few castes of artisans. The farmer was given land by his village community. They also introduced new methods of wet rice cultivation in Assam. They worshipped their own tribal gods. However, the influence of Brahmins increased. During the first half of the 17th century, king granted land to the temples and Brahmins. Although they started adopting Hindu customs, they did not completely give up their traditional beliefs such as burying the dead. Their society was very sophisticated and divided into 7 social groups called the Satgadiya Ahom or 7 houses of the Ahoms. Historical works of Ahoms called Buranjis were also written first in the Ahom language and then in Assamese. In the loop, the Beni Menashe tribe found in Manipur and Mizoram are descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. Instead of converting to other religions, these people converted back to the religions of their ancestors after rediscovering their roots. They have been practicing Judaism for the last 30 years. Value and life skills. Different tribes depend upon forest as a source of livelihood. Attar Chuha is a small village in Mandala district which is situated in the Kanha Page corridor. It is home to the entire population of the Baiga tribe, who are recognized as a vulnerable tribal group, VTGs. These communities are fully dependent on forest for their livelihood. Recapitulation. The tribes were other kinds of society which did not follow social rules and rituals set by the Brahmins and were also not divided into different unequal classes. Many tribes obtained their livelihood from agriculture. Some tribes were hunter-gatherers or herders. Most of the nomadic people moved over long distances with their animals. Tribal people were found in almost every region of the subcontinent. Thank you, class. Let's meet again in the next chapter.